Greetings Autobots and welcome to part 2 of Time to Transform, Revenge of the Fallen, Leader Class Optimus Prime. Now the more eagle-eyed viewers will have noticed that I left a crucial, essential step out in the last video. I forgot to flip out those knee pads, so yeah, there's that, but hey ho. Also, I failed to notice this last video, but for funsies, you can take this button above his crotch and you can make him say his name, just in case you don't know who he is. So, let's get stuck into the reverse transformation, because this one it's a bit more tricky. So, we'll just start with the back. We'll just take these little rear fenders and just separate them. Rotate them so they're facing properly, and then straighten them out, and they will sort of lock into place. Come to the back and we just separate these tabs on these little parts here just to free up some room. So it's just repeating the same process as before, but it's the arms that are the trickier part, so I'll cover them in more detail when we get there. So just plug in these panels. We'll just flip around to the back so we can see a little bit better. Take the smokestacks and rotate them in so that they peg in to the underside, these little slots right here. There we go. That's the thing with this figure, it's just more so getting all the little bits out of the way first. So now that we've done the back, we'll turn around and we'll work on the arms. Actually, we'll work on the chest. So this is kind of a tricky bit, because what you want to do is there's a little gap in here you can fit your finger in, and you're just going to want to pull it in and then not disengage the chest, but hey, that'll help. So just pull and then it will pop out. It does feel a little bit scary, don't get me wrong, it can feel like you're going to break it, but the plastic is absurdly sturdy. So we'll just keep that plugged in for the time being. Repeat the same process, just... Yep, we know. You're like the Harriet Jones of Transformers figures, you keep reminding everyone who you are. And fold these little blue bits in. Now this is important, make sure these blue parts are folded all the way down. And then we'll work on the arms. So just take these little air filter bits, bring them down, rotate the arm so that this little gear or screw point is facing up the ways. Take the sword arm and just flip it back until it rests like this. You'll want to make sure the blade is facing up the way when you situate it in robot mode or vehicle mode, and make sure this little shoulder piece here is folded down, because it will come in the way of the transformation and block off parts that you need to reach. So just open up this little forearm piece and push on this little track. And then that's one arm done. We'll leave it sitting there for the time being, so we may need to do a little bit of untransforming in regards to this piece, but I'll show you the method I have for doing this as we go along. So just repeat the same process, rotate around, flip that down, take the forearm piece and just bring it forward, flip the arm this way, take the forearm kibble piece and flip it around. Just make sure this bit is oriented properly. And there we have the arms done. Well, save for this part. So what we need to do now is just separate it from this little bit here and then bring it down and swing it around. And then you're going to want to compress the arm. Just compress it in the way so it's sitting like this. Make sure it's bent at this angle and this piece is facing up, otherwise it's not going to work. So now that we've got that sorted, we can do the same thing on the other side. Just bring it down, swing this around. Yeah, this is the trickier part. This is where the clearance kind of gets a little bit finicky. So what I like to do here is just separate these for the time being, and then you're going to want to plug these pieces together at the forearm and the wrists. So just bring that, just bring the camera down a little bit. So just plug them together. Give it a good squeeze just to be on the safe side. And now we can work on the rest of the chest. So what I like to do is take the head first, and you're going to want to just bring it down on this hinge. There's multiple hinges, so you're just going to bring that down. And I am Optimus Prime. I am Optimus Prime. Yeah, it's a little bit stiff, but you're just going to want to bring it down and then compress it so it's sitting at an angle like this. Because if you have it sitting like straight in this position, for example, these pieces here aren't going to be able to clear the head, so it won't work. So just keep it compressed, and then you're going to want to unpeg these pieces from those little ports on top. And this is where things can get a little bit finicky, just a wee bit. But I'll try and explain it as concisely as I can, because inside the forearms you can see there's these little grooves, and what you're going to want is to get these parts to sort of pass through the head and then sit in the grooves like this. And once they reach that position, they just pretty much stay in place. So do the same thing, and also you can bring these down if you want, though you don't need to just yet, but it is a part of making the truck look as good as it can be. So once you have these in, you're just going to want to do a bit of multitasking and use your fingers to just push the to make sure the grooves don't go anywhere, because they don't untab, don't get me wrong, but they can be a little bit awkward to move around. So just make sure you get that. See, this is the main problem of the vehicle mode configuration. It's those one bits, or just those bits with the arms. You're just going to make sure that everything comes into place, but this is just the most annoying part of the transformation, so much so that it pretty much, this part destroyed my last attempt, because it's only the vehicle transformation that gives me somewhat of some bother, or some semblance of issues. I think we might have it here now. If we can just, yep, I think we have it. And you're going to want to make sure that these little teeth hook in, and then everything just comes together. Compress these air filters in the way. And that's the worst part over. It's just the arms that are the trickiest part. We can angle the smokestacks up as we wish. Now we'll come around to the feet. So just take the waist and extend it. Straighten out his legs. Now what you're going to want to do is come around to the leg, extend this little bit out, unpeg it from that tab there. We'll just bring the camera down. So just separate the foot and bring it all down on that hinge. You can see it's on a big ball joint there, so it'll give you a lot of room to operate. Make sure you close in the toes. Take the fender or the wheel well, I'm not sure what. I think it might be a wheel well, but take that part and just bring it in. Make sure everything clips into place. Now you have a leg all done. So the second part is just like the first. So just take this part here, flip the wheel assembly up the way, take the foot, unpeg it, bring it down, fold in the toes, then just bring this whole section in, compress it against the foot. That will form the front of the truck. And also make sure that there's a little post here that's going to fit into a slot or a tab. It'll fit into that slot, so just make sure everything gets squeezed together. And then you can just plug the legs together. Alright, so we're on the home stretch. Now all we gotta do is just a little bit of touch up, just to make sure everything's all spick and span. So finally, you're gonna wanna take this whole hinge and just bring it forward. hang on, just wiggle these out to the side just to get a little bit of clearance. Sometimes they don't need to be moved around, other times they clash. It's kind of inconsistent, but make sure these bits stay plugged in, otherwise they end up getting thrown out of whack and it creates more problems. So make sure it's plugged in. Just, if you need to, just use your fingernail to sort of bring out the smokestack a little bit. Or not the smokestack, the grill. And then you can compress everything together and give it a squeeze, just to make sure, because it doesn't come apart, don't get me wrong, but you just want to be on the safe side. Take the wheels and just wiggle them and bring them out. Bring them out the way, like that. Take the fenders and then just rest them. I think they tap into a little section on the back of the trailer hitch. They sort of lock in place. Straighten out the smokestacks. Come out to the back, just do a final check just to make sure everything's ready. Take this whole section here, the cab, fold it down, and then finally, there we go. After you've closed those little side parts, you've entered the following Leader Class Optimus Prime back in truck mode. Hope you guys enjoyed this special edition of Time to Transform. I'll probably be doing a figure review of this guy at some point, but I may just use this video's footage for the transformation, as I don't want to potentially record several transformation attempts in case I mess something up or have to redo the entire video. But I hope you guys enjoy this video all the same. I had a lot of fun making it, even though we had a few mishaps here with the transformation. But what you're left with is one of, if not the greatest Optimus Prime figures ever designed and made. So with all that being said, this is Orabot ASMR, signing off for the night. Take care, everyone.